Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to another mathematics class. My name still remains Miss Ifeanyi Joseph, and in today's class, we're going to be looking at the topic temperature. I'm going to be looking at the topic what? Temperature. So in today's class, I'm going to be discussing what temperature is, the various temperature scales, the low and high points of temperature. We're also going to be looking at how we can change the various units of temperature from one to another, and how we can relate temperature to real life practice. So today's class promises to be fun and entertaining. Please stay tuned and learn something new today. All right, let's begin. So first off, we're going to start with definition of temperature. Now, temperature is the measure of how hot or cold a substance is. Temperature is the measure of how hot or cold a substance is. So how hot or cold a substance is measured in what we call temperature. So let's move to the next slide. So we have various tools used in measuring temperature. One of the most common to use in measuring temperature is called the thermometer. The tool used to measure temperature is called the thermometers. Now, thermometers can either be digital or glass with liquid. Those thermometers we see at the hospitals, at the clinics that is used to take temperature, they usually come in two types. Either the digital thermometer, which we are more familiar with, or the glass in liquid thermometers. So all this is an example. These are examples of thermometers used to measure temperature. Now, I want to look at temperature scales. We have two common scales used in temperature, although we have three, but there are two that are commonly used. We have the Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale. We also have a third one, which is the Kelvin scales, but for this class, I'm going to be mainly focusing on the Celsius scale and the Fahrenheit scales. Like I said, there are two common scales used in temperature. We have the Celsius scale the Fahrenheit scales. So now we're going to be looking at the various points in temperature. Now, when we talk about temperature, we have what we call the low and high points of temperature. The low and high points of temperature. Now, the low and high points of temperature are usually measured with the boiling and freezing points of water. Now, water freezes as that is the state at which it becomes ice block at 0 degrees Celsius for the Celsius scale and 32 degrees Fahrenheit for the Fahrenheit scales. While the boiling point of water is We have the boiling point of water, which is 100 degrees Celsius on the Celsius scale and 212 degrees on the Fahrenheit scales. So these are what we refer to as the low and high points. The low point is the 0 degrees Celsius and the 32 degrees Fahrenheit for the freezing point of water, while the high point is the boiling point of water, which is 100 degrees on the Celsius scales and 212 degrees on the Fahrenheit scales. Now, this information provides the ground basis by which we can be able to be converting from Celsius scale to Fahrenheit scale and also vice versa from Fahrenheit scales to Celsius scales. So in our next slide, we're going to be looking at that. So stay tuned and let's learn how to change our units. Like I said, we have the Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scales, and we know the low and high points. Now, to change from a Celsius scale to Fahrenheit scales, this is the formula we use, and it is on the screen. For 1 degree Celsius to Fahrenheit is 9/5 of the degree in Fahrenheit. To change from Fahrenheit to Celsius, you have 5/9 of the degree in Celsius. So if you want to change from a Celsius scale, whatever value you have on a Celsius scale to a Fahrenheit, want to change from a Fahrenheit to a Celsius scale, it's 9/5 of the Fahrenheit of the degree in Fahrenheit. While for vice versa, it's 5/9 of the degree in Celsius. So in the case of Celsius, you are adding 32. In the case of Fahrenheit, you're like subtracting 32. So I'm going to be looking at some examples to further understand what this is all about. Now let's look at example one. Now let's look at example one. We want to change 30 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Now we've taken a measurement and it's 30 degree on the Celsius scale. Now we want to determine what this 30 degree on the Celsius scale is in the Fahrenheit scale. Now this is the formula and the way we go about it. We make use of the formula 9 over 5 of the degree in Celsius plus 32. 9 over 5 of the degree in Celsius plus 32. Now we are changing 30 degrees, so we're going to be 9 over 5 times 30 plus 32. 9 over 5 times 30 plus 32. Now 9 over 5 of 30 will give us 54. Then we add our 32 degrees, which is what? 86. This therefore tells us that 30 degrees Celsius on Celsius scale is actually 86 degree on the Fahrenheit scale. Now, can we see how we've converted from the Celsius scale to the Fahrenheit scale? We can also do from the Fahrenheit scale to the Celsius scale, which we're going to be seeing now in the next slide. Now, we want to change 68-degree measurement on the Fahrenheit scale to the Celsius scale. Now, using our formula, that 5 over 9 of the degree in Fahrenheit minus 32. Now, the first thing we're going to do in this case is to subtract our degree in Fahrenheit, subtract 32 from our degree in Fahrenheit. Now, our degree in Fahrenheit is 68. So when we subtract 32 from 68, we're going to have what? 36. It's going to give us 36, and 5 over 9 of 36 is what? 20. So, in the previous case, I first looking at the fraction of it, then we add 32. But in this case, we're going to subtract 32, then find the fraction of it. So, 68 minus 32 will give us 36, and 5 over 9 of 36 is what? 20. So when you have 68 degree on your Fahrenheit scales, it's actually 20 degree on your Celsius scales. So I hope from this class we are able to understand how to convert from Celsius to the Fahrenheit scales. So So thank you for listening to today's class, and I hope you've learned something new about the Celsius and the Fahrenheit scales, and I hope you've learned a thing or two about how to change from one unit to another. Looking forward to hearing all you have learned in the comment section, and I can't wait to see you in our next class. Bye. Do have a nice day.